What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel, guys. Had another special request here. We got How Powerful Is Norway? Always heard, I've been doing a lot about Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Pretty much all of Scandinavia, a little bit of Nordic here and there, you know, with the inclusion of Iceland and Finland. But we here with Norway, checking it out. And I know Norway is powerful, especially when it comes to the oil. I can say very expensive, but then again, they generate a lot just because of their GDP. What pretty much number one, I believe. So yeah, definitely hit a gold mine with the oil. But we finna see how powerful they are in other terms on this channel. So y'all hit that subscribe button, send out those recommendations.
In June 2016, the United Kingdom voted to leave the European Union in a controversial referendum known as Brexit. Many Brits who supported Brexit argued that the UK would be better off if it adopted the Norwegian model, that is, remaining outside the EU while reaping some of the organization's economic benefits. But how well is this model working for the country? Just how powerful is Norway? Well, at nearly 150,000 square miles, or a bit larger than the US state of Montana, Norway is the second biggest Scandinavian country. But with a population of about 5 million, the country has the lowest population density in all of continental Europe. Still, those who do live in Norway tend to be fairly well off. The country has the third highest per capita GDP in Europe and the fourth highest in the world. This is partially due to Norway being the largest per capita producer of oil outside the Middle East, accounting for roughly a quarter of the country's nearly $400 billion GDP.
And that's amazing. And I know, I'm sure things are a little expensive there, but I feel like as long as the pay match, because I seen on another video, it was talking about the living standards can be higher than your salary, basically. So your salary has to be at least a higher or equivalent to a living standard. I don't know if that's everywhere in Europe, because I know here in the States, it's way off. Like people that work full-time jobs that might not be like technically career-based, but they're working maybe at a restaurant, fast food place, any fast food place or something like that. They can't even afford to get an apartment, which means they have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to be able to live. It's crazy.
This is partially due to Norway being the largest per capita producer of oil outside the Middle East, accounting for roughly a quarter of the country's nearly $400 billion GDP. While the global slump in gas prices has taken a huge toll on other oil-dependent economies like Brazil and Venezuela, Norway has been less affected. This is because over the years, the country has stored much of its public money in its sovereign wealth fund, which is like an investment account for countries. And Norway's is reportedly the largest in the world.
Smart.
Norway's economy also benefits from the country's unique arrangement with the EU. The so-called Norwegian model means that although Norway is not an official member, it has full access to the bloc's internal market, and it can trade most goods with member states duty-free. What's more, it's not limited by the EU's strict internal trade policy, and thus has the freedom to negotiate free trade agreements with countries outside the organization. However, when it comes to Norway's defense, existing outside the EU does have certain disadvantages. Norway has little say in EU policies regarding regional security, which is problematic when dealing with Russia.
When did Norway get out of the EU? Because isn't Norway still a part of NATO? I'm sure that, like, don't you have to be a part of the EU to be part of NATO? This is a question, so none of y'all don't take offense. Like, oh, you don't know nothing about it. That's why I'm asking the question, man. Answer the question for me. But I didn't know Norway was out of the EU.
Norway's defense, existing outside the EU, does have certain disadvantages. Norway has little say in EU policies regarding regional security, which is problematic when dealing with Russia over their shared border. Still, Norway does benefit from its membership in NATO, which is crucial.
So they're different memberships,
as the country is relatively weak on its own. Its military encompasses just 70,000 personnel and a $7 billion defense budget.
Dang.
Historically, Norway has built up its military through mandatory conscription. However, since the end of the Cold War, the country has relaxed its drafting policies, and in general, those who don't wish to serve are not forced to. That said, conscription is still an official civic responsibility, and in 2013, Norway became the first NATO and European country to expand this duty to women as well as men. As an economically stable...
That's always interesting, because I know here in the States, it's been like I didn't know women wasn't drafted in the military or in NATO's back then, or until 2013 for NATO. that's different because I know here, like, just growing up, I mean, I don't even know when in the States that you're able to serve as a woman, but I think that's cool because I didn't, like, it's so much that you can do in the military. It's so much. Like, there's different, there's plenty of options and stuff. So, but this is good. That's good. Norway became first.
To expand this duty to women as well as men. As an economically stable and NATO-protected country, Norway is doing well. But like other Scandinavian countries, Norway is struggling to control an influx of migrants, integrate ethnic minorities, and navigate an aging population, all while maintaining its robust social safety net and economic competitiveness. If many Brits had considered these and Norway's other domestic issues, perhaps they would have thought twice before choosing to go it alone. The Kingdom of Norway is also home to the Svalbard Seed Vault, one of the largest collections of seeds in the world. And Trace, over on D News, got to see the inside of it. You can learn more about the Doomsday Vault by watching this video here.
By digging a 130-meter tunnel deep into the mountain, the vault is underneath that permafrost, meaning they only had to cool it the remaining 12 Celsius. At that temperature, the 860,000 varieties currently in the vault can be held for decades.
Thanks for watching Secret Daily. Don't forget to like and subscribe for new videos every day.
That looked very interesting. But no, I know, because I feel like I did how powerful is Denmark too, or something like that. But just these countries alone, like, one thing you can say, you can look at the money and think the money's power. You can look at military power, which those are in their own, in their own category when it comes to a different power. But Norway is still one of those countries that, a livable place, a happy place, and they're in the top 10s of, great and positive things, what makes them so great. So that's another powerful thing when you care about the human standards, the human rights, and livable economy and stuff like that. So like I said, I'm sure it's expensive, but I know a lot of people that say, we still just go to the country over, go get groceries and go do this because it's cheaper. But we make a good amount of money probably, so. But definitely enjoy this. If y'all want to add on to that, let me know some more about how powerful Norway is. I'll definitely appreciate it. But that's all I have. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Send out those recommendations. And y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.